Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope y'all are well. I got a story that I want to share with you. Pardon the noise if you hear anything. I'm outside doing some yard work, so I stopped to make this video quickly. Um, there was a news story that came out yesterday. It says imminent catastrophic power grid attack on the United States could kill 300 million people, experts predict. So, if you are aware of the recent census data that came out a couple of years ago, there's about 325 million, between 325 million and 350 million people in the United States. So if they estimate or predict 300 million people could die, that means more than half of the people in this country will die. So it's going to be survival of the fittest. How they know this or why they know this or what they are figuring into this number, I don't know. But if they are anticipating, um, what comes with a power outage, it would be, no gas, so you can't get to work, no food because there is no gas to pump into cars because that requires power. No food because you won't be able to go into the grocery store and buy any. Nobody can charge you for anything unless you pay cash. um, no power in your homes, no power for hospitals, no power to keep medications cold that need to be kept cold. So there are a whole host of things that could go wrong in the event there is a power outage. No street lights, um, darkness, you only have sunlight, moonlight, people, law, just a lot of lawlessness and so on and so forth. So, um, without food and water, even water, talking about water, you don't have the power to run water and sewage treatment. So people would die from, you know, illnesses. They would die from dehydration. They would die from, a lack of medications that would uh, be around to make them well. So it's just a lot of things that come with power outages that people don't necessarily anticipate. And just weather, people who live outside, living in the elements, they're not going to be able to hide. Uh, you can't get cool and you can't get warm. So people going to, have heat strokes and freeze to death. Uh, so, you have to kind of think about those things in that perspective to understand how that many people could perish. And you think about how many parents don't know how to survive off the land. They can't hunt, they can't grow any vegetables, they don't have anything to put in the ground to start growing. They didn't put any food back. So, you can't survive without the basics: food, water, and shelter. They don't even have tents to keep the elements off of you. No bug repellent, no nothing. So you're talking about a grid down situation across this country. You are talking about some serious stuff. And that they're putting it out here now. Y'all know this stuff got missing off this train a couple of weeks ago, and they keep talking about cyber pandemics. They got to have chaos so that they can bring order. So be on the lookout. Again, prep like your life depends on it. I don't know when nothing is going to happen. I don't know if something is going to happen. I don't know if they're using this as fear. I couldn't hardly even find this story anyplace. So it kind of disappears. So I got to bring y'all stuff when I can, but pay attention to what these people are saying, because it looks like, things are going, 6-month window, a year window, 2-3 year windows. And we don't know when anything is going to happen, but you have to be ready for everything to happen. So keep that mindset. All right. An expert has cautioned that approximately 300 million Americans could be wiped out as a direct result of an attack on the presently vulnerable United States power grid. Financier David Tice made the remarks during an interview with podcaster Sean Ryan, claiming a national power outage would lead to 90% of the population losing their lives, pointing a finger at none other than China as the likely would-be culprit. So pay attention to this. See how they're blaming other people. But there are no good guys. Understand that with this, NWO global order thing, everybody on the same team. Everybody working for one entity, one spiritual evil, power. And so we just got to keep that in mind. Don't worry about who did it. Worry about what's going to happen. Don't worry about, when it's going to happen. Just be prepared for something to happen because they broadcast to you before they do whatever it is they're going to do to you. So sitting around acting like ain't nothing going to happen is just going to make you sitting duck. You're a target. He went on to describe that the attack might be enabled by debilitating the U.S.'s power facilities through hacking, targeted terrorist attacks, or the detonation of an electromagnetic pulse device, which would leave the nation in extreme chaos. If the power grid goes down, it really becomes nearly a zombie apocalypse, he added. So if you live in the city, you need to pay attention because people are going to be walking around acting crazy. And then, once one thing happens, they can do whatever they want to. They can, put out viruses. They could, bioweapons. Anybody could do anything because most people won't have communications, won't know anything, and they'll be too busy trying to fight and survive. And just, they won't have the head start that we have by understanding what is happening, what type of evil world we lived in, and understand that darkness has been unleashed on the earth. So we got to be ready for the darkness, physical and spiritual darkness. Tice also drew attention to the fact that introducing safety measures to make the U.S. power grid more robust could prevent an attack of this nature. Measures that many influential lobby groups are reportedly trying to prevent the government from implementing due to the expense involved. So notice they keep talking about safety. So that's just the digitalization. They want to do something, but they got to make you scared so they can be like, okay, yes, go do that thing. And then you find out it was real bad. You shouldn't have done that. But this is how they sell it to us, the wicked ones. To to emphasize the urgency of the matter, Tice brought up the 2013 attack on a Pacific gas and electric substation in Coyote, California, where a team of shooters inflicted $15 million worth of damage. The culprits responsible for the incursion, however, were never caught. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that place has been targeted a couple of times, barely made the news. But at the end of the day, we don't know who's behind it. And the fact that they're not talking about it is telling. That was 10 years ago. So it just says that they understand where the weak spots are and where they want to target, and they're ready. So, it's a 10-year window from 2013 to 2023. So go back and look and see when that incident occurred, and then maybe you'll have a window of a month or a time period when it could occur. But just understand these folks love numbers, symbols, signs, colors, and codes. That's how they speak. We got to learn how to understand how they speak. Navy SEAL investigators called and credited the incident to professional operatives. I'm sorry, to professional operatives. Additionally, John Wellingoff of the United States Federal Energy Regulatory Commission claims it was the most significant incident of domestic terrorism involving the grid that has ever occurred. So they're saying this wasn't foreign, this is domestic. So they got to worry about terrorists here. And I'm going to just tell y'all, you know, for the first time ever, they have labeled white men as threats. And so, you know, they know who the biggest resistance will be in, or, preventing this new world order from coming online. So this is why they do what they do. They understand what they're doing. Folks just don't get it. But I think for the first time ever, the dominant society got targets on their backs, and they're gonna be set up. That's just my 2 cents. All right. During the conversation, Ryan noted that 300 of America's building-sized transformers were built in China and voiced fears that Taiwan was likely to be invaded before the end of Papa's current tenure. The relevance of the latter is that China would be able to disable America, Taiwan's biggest ally, first by taking out its power grid. Ryan continues, all they need to do is take out 9 transformers. Referring to the alliance between the bear and the dragon, Tice claimed that they believed they were intent on undermining the United States. And I kind of believe that too, just because, again, in order for the new order to come in, the old one has to be taken out, and everybody's got a role to play. If we truly have an outage that is nationwide, that lasts 9 months, the commission estimates that as many as 90,000 of Americans would die. So it's likely 300 million people wiped off the map just like that, Tice informed Ryan, per the Daily Star. The United States federal government has since backed a dedicated EMP commission to assess the nation's vulnerability to attack on the power grids. Well, what difference does it make if you assess it if you ain't gonna do nothing? But anywho, the last thing that I do want to share with you is not that story. This is for another video. Okay. Let's see. All right. Have to switch tabs. So there is another story that I'm going to share with you, and it is uh, Abbott appointee resigns as chair of the power grid regulator. And this story came out yesterday as well, and it's in the Texas Tribune. I will put both stories in the description, but understand Texas has a totally different power grid than we do. And so I think it's interesting that this person is resigning on the same day that this news article comes out. So, anywho, I'm going to include it in the description. Please, 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 whatever you do, continue to prepare. Make sure you have things that you can cook with without power for a long period of time. Camping stove, them little camping stoves, they cost like $18. You can use leaves and sticks to start your fire, and have you some cast iron pots and stuff that you can put on it to prepare food. Even if you have to go outside, and you're just gonna really have to be creative these days, because we're all in a bad spot. But if you haven't been preparing, for the last couple of years, there's no way you're gonna be able to do what you need to do right now. But you got to do something. And if you have something that you can contribute to a group of people who are prepared, try to find like minded people in the community. If you got money to move, I recommend you move to the country, because you can live in the country uh, and live off the land like we used to do back in the old days. But it's going to be really hard if you're in the city. So I recommend, if you are in the city and there's a grid down situation, have a plan. Call some relatives that live out of town. Keep gas in your car. Make sure your car stays on full. So if you got to flee, you can flee. Uh, you got to start being prepared, more prepared than you ever have been, because something is coming. They keep talking about it. I don't know what it is, but we just got to be ready. And I don't think they're gonna wait until 2024 to do what they're trying to do, because people are waking up. All right, y'all, this is Marley K. I am out of here.